What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Black Desert. So today is the final day, or I guess when you guys see this video, the season has ended, and I wanted to make another update video on what should you guys be doing and what are like some goals to set after the season ends. So I get a lot of questions about this actually, and people get kind of confused or like lost after a season ends and you don't know where to grind or anything. So I kind of wanted to make this another update on some of the things I would recommend doing after the season ends. And I thought this was an appropriate time just because today, I guess when you see the video, the fall 2022 season has ended. And also to answer another question, when does the next season start? We don't actually know it. Even the partners don't really know it. So I guess we could make our best educated guess is when the Calpheon Ball is happening next week. They're probably going to announce a lot of other stuff. And they're probably going to start the season whenever the Wusa comes out for PC. And so that's probably when it's happening. And if I had to guess, either at the end of December or early January. Those are my guesses, but either mid to late December or January. But with that said, just look out for the official notice on the website for like actual information because no one else actually knows it yet. So, what do you do after season ends? I'm gonna assume that you guys are, I don't know, assume you are like full pen gear, and this is what your season stuff looks like for the most part, right? Well, actually, this is kind of a bad example. But anyway, let's say you have full pen Tuvala, and where do you go from here? What you're going to want to do is, if this is your first season that you're completing, you're going to want to turn all your Tuvala armor into like boss armor. So what it should look like is, actually, I have no idea which class I have it all on, but anyway, you turn them all into boss gear and it should look something like this, like Bags, Urgons, either Muskin or Griffin, and Red Nose. So basically you turn them all into boss gear and they should be Tet by default. And what do you do after that? That's like the same thing. I just want to make that clear. The stats are the same. It's just now that you are transitioning out of the quote-unquote tutorial and going into the big world of BDO on your main character, enhancing that gear to pen is probably going to be difficult. So one thing I would recommend is talking to Jatina. She is in pretty much every major town, and you'll get two options. One is to do like a main quest for a guaranteed pen boss gear. You can actually do this a lot of times, but the silver to item material value is only worth it for like the first two. And then after that, it's probably better to make your own. And then, as well as you are going to get a quest for a pen accessory that you can only do once per account. So the pen accessory will be a long grind. It's probably roughly like 2 to 2.5 months, assuming you're doing it daily. And the ones that give 2, not 1 material. And so that's kind of an expensive thing. And when I say guarantee, it's like basically you get guaranteed, and it's not free, but it's guaranteed to go to pen. And so I think that is something you should start working on as soon as possible, because a pen accessory that is like pretty decent will actually go a long way. So it gives 3 choices. You'll get a pen narc, a pen crescent ring, or a pen tongrad earring. The best choice for a new player, like this is your first character or something, will probably be the pen crescent route, because it gives 3 AP. So let me just show you. Your pen crescent is going to be 20 AP total, which is a big jump up actually. And to me, like, I could personally boost my AP up by 2 more if I didn't pick the narc. However, I think for me, I'm at like a different stage in the game, whereas I'm going to be going for pen tongrads, which is technically at endgame 1 more AP higher. So I chose the narc earring just for more survivability, so I could grind higher end spots, but that's a different story. And so I think the best options are 1, the crescent ring for most players, and then 2, like let's say you're like a returning player and you already have gear, and what do you get? You could probably get a narc earring. And I want to make this clear that it doesn't matter if you think you messed up your choice, because you can always talk to Jatina and turn this into one of the 3. So you can like hard swap back and forth. Once at Tet, so like let's say you chose a narc earring at Tet, right, and you wanted crescent, you could change it then. And then once it hits pen, and those are the 2 free changes you get. And after that, I think it costs like a billion or 2 silver, and then you could swap it freely. But I mean, at that point, it's not really worth it. Make your decision within the first 2 tries, and you're good to go. Basically, get anything but the Tungrad earring, and this is what it is. So I don't think the Tungrad is particularly bad. I just think it gets outclassed later on. And so like if you're stuck with the pen Tungrad, first of all, 1, it's 3 AP less than the crescent, which we just saw, and that's 3 AP that you could be using somewhere else. And the narc earring is obviously this one, which is like the middle ground, but it gives DP, so you feel safer grinding newer spots and whatnot. And so yeah, those are the choices you can make. Next one is going for the guaranteed pen armors and weapons. So if you don't know how to do it, what you do is I think, yeah, the progression pass, and then you go to the guaranteed pen tab, and then you click this, and then just follow the line of how do you do all this. Now I personally don't have it done, because when this whole system came out, I was already full pen gear, but it's not like I'm mad about that. It's like, it's good for new players to catch up, and I just never had a need to do it. And yes, you can turn the gear that you get into that into Fallen God and Labresca. So like, let's say you made a pen armor, for example, right? If you get it to Capris 10, you can still exchange it for the Fallen God. So yes, that is something you can do. It has been tested, and I have personally talked to a lot of my guildies, and they've done that too. So with that said, those are some daily things you should do, and just figure out how to get your gear up. And some other goals that I have in mind are things, let's say you didn't complete during the season, is going for your infinite potions, right? So I believe these are very important, and some people may be like, okay, I'm not at the point where I feel like I need it yet, but I think grinding for infinite potions early on is a good idea, because first of all, when you do this, it does take quite a bit of amount of time, and you are going to need it at some point, so you might as well get it while you're within the AP range, and you can, like, you're making relative silver to the area. Whereas when I did it, I was like already 290 AP and up. So I was like, yeah, I was just grinding the spots just for the pieces, and I could be making silver somewhere else. So yeah, do it when your AP isn't as high, because like, where else would you be going? And then I actually have a video on where to go grind out like every single potion piece, where I personally did it, and how you go about making them. So eventually, when you start getting more AP, you're gonna be obviously moving up into the higher end grind spots, and not having to carry stacks of like thousands of potions, and not having to use like your storage maids and whatnot is very good. So just, it is overall lower weight, so especially for the free to play players out there. Like, let me show you an example. Let's go to the NPC. So as you guys know, the infinite potions are the equivalent of the extra large ones, right? So if you have like, I don't know, 50 health potions and 50 mana potions, that's the equivalent of the same weight, but usually you would be carrying hundreds. And especially if you like PvPing, just never having to think about that again is one of the good things. So a few other things after going for the infinite potion that I would recommend doing is looking at your adventure log. Now, here's the thing with this one. You get permanent AP, DP, and just stats over here, right? So when you have this, these give permanent stats to all your characters on your account. So that means it'll give you an advantage when you start like the next season or you just start another character, right? So that means like you will have a head start over new players who just started the game, aside from the knowledge you already have. So, for example, when you start a new character at level 1, right? And the new zone is, or like the beginner zone is like, you need 10 AP or something, which obviously is not hard to get, but like you already have 8 of them just at level 1 right off the bat. And so that'll make your speed run of the second season a lot faster by just getting all of this. I would recommend getting the at least AP and DP ones at high priority. The extra stats on here just come along on the side, so that's always nice. Permanent enhance and Valks are just stuff on the side. I would recommend doing it if you can, but permanent enhancing is just doing a lot of quests in the game. And like, to me, it's not worth it unless you enhance a lot. And then the Valk's Cry is, that one's pretty important. It's not that bad, but the overall one is just a grind. So things you should just look out for are basically the Bartali log one, Herald's Journal, Deeves, and then there's one for the Agris Fever. I don't quite remember which one. And unfortunately, I did not make a guide of these ones. I might have a video of the Igor Batali's ones, but man, I just like, I didn't really enjoy doing it. Some of them were fun, some of them are just tedious, but if you have free time, I'd recommend at least going for the AP DP. If you don't care about like the Valks and permanent enhance, don't worry about it. So what else should you do? So let's say you are finishing season and you kind of want to try new things because all you did was like either grind or life skill. Obviously you do the opposite one. What I would recommend doing is if you are looking into grinding new spots, if you are finishing season, you are, I would say, roughly around like 230 to 240 AP, right? And so I have a video that I did pretty recently, and I just covered basically all the spots that I thought were relevant and talked about it, gave my opinions and everything. So check that out and just start grinding spots you think might be good for stuff that you need in the future. And if you are a life skiller, I also made another video of that. I personally think gathering is a good intro to life skills because that'll transition you into either cooking, alchemy, and processing. And like you use raw materials for that and turn them into higher tier products of these. And then sailing and bartering. I personally think sailing is like a breath of fresh air because if you think about your traditional MMO, like you're just grinding for gear and everything. Now, if you're on your boat, like actually ocean content in this game is something you could do because you have to like get your own boat, which is something that a lot of other games don't have, and it actually feels accomplishing because at the end of the day, ocean content is very calming, and it may not be a lot of money. They might buff it in the future, but saying you got a carrack is worth, or to me, just like the number of dailies you have to do that is probably worth more than to me than getting like full pen, to be honest. It just feels more accomplishing just to say you have it. And so yeah, it's a long-term progression goal. That's something you could do as well. Other than that, I guess most people's main goal is probably just getting more gear. And so generally my rule of thumb is if you are looking into gear and you have no idea where to go about progressing next, go for like the thing you think you need the most, like the highest AP or DP if you're going for a DP build for the least amount of money. And so in my opinion, you want to go for pen armors and then pen weapons. People have asked me a lot if you should get like Zarkas versus Black Stars. Now, obviously, Black Stars are very end game, and they are either heavy money sinks or you save up a lot of money to buy it. So I don't think it's wrong to get a Zarka and just put Capris in it while you progress. The God Eye stuff, which is this thingy, basically. They have it for Black Stars at Tet. You turn them into the higher tier ones. And so here's the thing. Advice from a veteran player. If this puts you up into a new bracket, it might be worth it. However, upgrading this, you will know that if you sell it eventually, you are going to be losing money. That's just across the board. However, I understand that going from a Tet Black Star, like the base one is considered the Tet equivalent, is like hard to go from Tet to Pen, right? And so upgrading it up to Duo it doesn't downgrade. So like if you have Pry, you can keep slamming it until it goes Duo. However, after Duo, it will start downgrading again once you start going for Tri. That's when you start using Cron Stones. With that said, if this puts you into a new bracket at Duo, I would stop enhancing it from there. One, because the amount of stacks you have to use for this is kind of high, and you could be using that for other gains as well if you are Enhancer. And eventually, you are going to get like a Pen Black Star, God Eye equivalent, whatever. And you're going to sell your old one. And first of all, they don't really sell. Like, if you sell it, you're going to have to hard minimum sell it. That's just how it is. And then, with that said, you're probably losing money on how much you made for it. So, yeah, just know that you're not making money off of it. You're using it temporarily to get yourself into a new bracket for probably cheaper than what it costs. So I would stay at Duo. If you YOLO tap it to try to stay there. And that's just my advice for you guys. So I don't want you guys to just like light too much silver on fire doing that. I personally had a Tet, and you guys have seen the videos of me getting it. However, with that said, I was doing it for YouTube videos and memes. So, and then I eventually sold the Tet and just straight up bought a pen. That was my progression goal. And in terms of accessories, get the one that's cheapest for the most amount of stats. So in my opinion, right now, I believe, assuming you're going for pen, that is, the belt is the cheapest, followed by the necklace, and then followed by rings, and then earrings are always last. But another thing you could do is just you grind, you get Capris, you put your Capris in your gear, go for Fallen God, and yeah, those are all long-term goals that I say. It sounds easy when I say it, but getting Capris is like it's a long-term goal, and then you grind the places for Churros and Jade Starlight Forest. So let me show you where they are real quick. If you are going for the Fallen God armor, you will be grinding Churros, which I think they're actually buffing the spot. And in here, you'll get the where is it? What is the pieces? You'll get these Embers of Despair, and when you get 100, you get a flame, and then you use the Capris 10 in your pen armor piece, plus the flame, and then you turn it into a Fallen God armor, which is this thing, and then you enhance it from there. If you were going the Labresca route, which is the harder one right now because it's newer, you're going to be grinding in Jade Starlight Forest down here, and basically same thing. You go for 100 embers, and then it turns into a flame, and then it turns into the helmet. So with that said, yeah, so these are the two things you're going for. The Flame of Frost is actually still ordered a lot because it's the newer one that came out. And Flame of Despair, I believe, like, if you put an order on, you probably will get it faster. However, with that said, Fallen God armors you can get relatively easily. If you are not an enhancer, I would recommend just buying it at Duo and like cronning it yourself, or just buying it all the way up to Tet. Like, they sit on the market, you can buy them. But this is the cheaper of the two. Then Labresca is, I mean, like, you can buy these as well, but these are slightly higher in prices for the same stats, more or less. Like, I would just go Fallen God first. So, like, armor piece and then helmet. But overall, those are my goals on progressing after seasons. Just for the most part, play this game at your own pace and try not to, like, compete with other people. Because I made that mistake once, and I mean, I still more or less do, like, compete with my friends, but we're at, like, high levels and stuff. But if you don't want to burn out and just, like, feel depressed when you do this, you should just play the game at your own pace. Don't look at other people's gear, and just, like, focus on one piece of gear at a time. Don't do roulettes. All you want to do is set yourself a goal. Like, for example, for me, I want another pen Tungrad ring, and I'm just gonna save money. I grind very casually, and I'll get that goal when I get there, and that's about it. So yeah, for the most part, there's a lot of things you can do, and if you want to join the Discord or leave it in the comments, I'm happy to help you. And I said this before, and I still follow this, is if you guys need help with any progression, feel free to ask. I have a Discord channel, and you could find a link in the description as well as on screen. If you need any gear help, or like, just show me a screenshot and be like, I don't know where to go, I'm lost, and I'll like guide you in the right direction, or someone else will in the Discord as well. So with that said, hopefully this is helpful. Always happy to answer questions for you guys, because I know this game is pretty tricky and it's not really intuitive, to the point where there's just a lot of information that's just not very obvious. So I've been playing this game for a long time. I had to figure all this out myself. So I'm also happy to help you guys and help you guys figure out everything as well. So join the Discord, leave a comment, do whatever. I would love to see you guys come back if you haven't already subscribed. I try to do videos pretty regularly, and hopefully they're helpful. But it's getting pretty late. Maintenance is tomorrow, and the season is obviously ending tomorrow. Or I guess today, the season already ended when you saw this video. But I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic day.